the introduction page, all this. So you please, madam, start the proceedings.
Okay,
We already are 5:05.
that's right.
Okay.
Good evening. A warm welcome to today's webinar titled Fortune Telling with Digital Marketing. The topic sounds really interesting. We have three panelists here today who will be discussing it, and I shall be introducing them shortly. I also warmly welcome our core committee members, Mr. Saurabh Ghosh, Senior Advisor, Shikshayatan Foundation, Mrs. Brotati Bhattacharya, Secretary General, Shikshayatan Foundation, our Principal, Dr. Shuman Kumar Daw, and all professors, staff, and students present here today. Before we start, let me give you a brief introduction about Shikshayatan Foundation, the apex body of Calcutta Business School, which is celebrating its 100 years of educational excellence and legacy. It all started in 1920, when a group of eminent industrialists started the Marwari Balika Vidyalaya. In 1954, the Sri Shikshayatan School was established, and in 1955, the Sri Shikshayatan College. In 2008, Calcutta Business School was added to it. All this was achieved under the umbrella of Shikshayatan Foundation, under the stewardship of Mr. S.K. Birla, President and Director Emeritus of the Foundation, Mr. Siddharth Birla, Vice President, Mr. G.K. Khaitan, Trustee and President of Sri Shikshayatan College, Mr. R.S. Goenka, Trustee and MD of Imami Group, and a host of other eminent industrialists. Mrs. Brotati Bhattacharya is the Secretary General of the Foundation. Calcutta Business School offers a 2-year full-time AICTE-approved postgraduate diploma in management and several other certificate programs and management development programs. It has a sprawling, lush green campus just 3 kilometers from Swaminarayan Temple on Diamond Harbour Road. It is a residential business school for boys and girls, offering experiential learning and excellent placement. We would now like to show you a short video on our campus, and I request Mr. Sunil Ray to play the video, please.
Telling is your essence. Then you are welcome to Calcutta Business School. Center of Excellence. Centered on excellence.
It all started in the year 1920 when some eminent industrialists of Kolkata founded the Marwari Balika Vidyalaya. Later, in 1954, Sri Shikshayatan School was founded, and in 1955, Sri Shikshayatan College came into being with the objective of further propagating quality education to girls. All these institutions have continued to excel under the management of the Shikshayatan Foundation.
It has been guided by industrialists like President Mr. S.K. Birla, Director Emeritus, Birla Brothers Private Limited, Mr. Siddharth Birla, Vice President, Mr. G.K. Khaitan, Trustee and President of Shikshayatan College, Mr. R.S. Goenka, Trustee and MD of Imami Group, and many other reputed industrialists. The Secretary General of the Foundation is Mrs. Brotati Bhattacharya.
Greetings. I would like to speak a few words about our institution, the Shikshayatan Foundation. The year was 1920, when some of my forefathers thought that female education needed to be propagated much more actively than was the custom in those days. And we donated from our family 2 buildings in the heart of Bada Bazaar for the girl child to be educated there. That institution is still working. The latest addition to our bouquet of institutions has been the Calcutta Business School, which was started a few years ago on a 15-acre plot of land and not very far away from IIM Calcutta.
Calcutta Business School offers an AICTE approved, autonomous, 2-year full-time residential program on postgraduate diploma in management, majoring in subjects like finance, marketing, IT, operations and human resource. But it's the unique cluster of courses that sets it apart. Interactive and intuitive games like management game and stock market simulation game. It also puts heavy emphasis on data handling and business analytics and uses databases and software like CMIE Prowess, MetaStock, R, and SAP.
Kolkata is the city of joy. It is the cultural capital of India, a city which has its soulful embodiment of culture, love, mystery, respect, and enthusiasm. A city that upholds a perfect juxtaposition between the old world and the modern one. It has given us many Nobel laureates over the years. It has iconic institutes like the Calcutta University, the National Library, Presidency University, Vishwa Bharati, IIM Calcutta, and many such legendary institutes. Calcutta Business School's AICTE approved PGDM program is carrying forward this rich legacy of Kolkata.
Thank you. We would have loved Mr. Saurabh Ghosh, the Senior Advisor to Shikshayatan Foundation, to set the webinar, but he's taking some time to join. So we will now request our Secretary General, Mrs. Bhattacharya Bhattacharya, to say a few encouraging words, please.
Thank you, Ms. Ghosh. Welcome to this webinar, which we have started quite some time back, but we are doing it regularly now because it's the need of the hour, digitization. We welcome the panelists, Dr. Datta, Professor Banerjee, and Mr. Masood to be our panelists today. And I also welcome the moderator, Professor Shonji Biswas. A very good evening to all of you present here. Welcome to our abode of learning, Shikshayatan. We are very proud of this organization, Shikshayatan, because it empowers people. It actually fulfills dreams of people and it transforms life. Such is also digitization, because we all know how technology is transforming business globally. And with this emerging technology and digital practices, business models have changed and they are basically catalyst of transformation. And in order to be ahead of this game, or ahead of time, companies are definitely looking at those professionals who understand the nature and this impact, and people who have this understanding of digitization. Someone was asking me a few days back, saying that infrastructure is all about, this brick and mortar. And I said, no, in today's world, even the dictionary meaning now has to change. It is no more brick and mortar. It is also the digital tools that you use, because it is actually allowing us to reach a lot of people. And it is a reach out for remote learning and many other things. So today's topic, it is actually rightly said, fortune telling and digital marketing. So if I can just say briefly from as a lay person's point of view, when we talk about this fortune telling and digitization, and when we are looking for something, the first thing that we do is, we look at a website which is vibrant, a website which is user-friendly, a website that communicates, because it tells us about the planning of any organization. it has to be moving, it has to be talking to people. And the responsibility that we say that the website has to be a very, very healthy website, because it allows us to not only communicate, but also to search for anything that we are looking for, and we understand who are these target audience. Because unless we do that, then we miss out on our clients. So it is basically something is knowledge that is disseminated for people to understand us. And definitely anything that we do, we also need to see that, we perform, and the performance is always checked through assessment. So you also need to have some audience, or you need to have an audit. When I say audience, I also think that audience also does audit for us, because they give us the feedback to understand whether we are actually reaching out to them or not. And another last point that I would like to say, that whatever may be your communication should be accessible to everyone worldwide, and therefore language should not be a barrier. So even I think for through digitization, whatever you want to communicate should be available to people in the language they understand. And we have seen in national education policy, language is something that we have stressed at, because we realize we, especially Indians, we are in a diverse country, and we have so many languages that people understand. And if you have to reach out to people, we need to be also translating whatever we say. Thank you once again. Let us all enjoy, what the panelists will have to say, and welcome once again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am, for your encouraging words. Without wasting any further time, let us now start the webinar by introducing our panelists. We have three panelists today, Mr. Fariduddin Masood, Dr. Mahua Datta, and Mr. Debojyoti Banerjee. Let me have the privilege of introducing them one by one. Mr. Fariduddin Masood is a digital marketing strategist, marketing content, and product management specialist. He was instrumental in building India's one of the largest open source edtech platform under Ministry of Education. His research and areas of expertise are on MOOCs technology, digital strategy, customer psychology, and process automation. Our next panelist, Dr. Mahua Datta, is the founder of mycoolguru.com. She has more than 20 years experience in corporate sector and is a marketing trainer and motivation speaker. She is a PhD in retail marketing management and a corporate trainer in the area of marketing and digital marketing. She is an avid traveler and a people-centric person. Our third panelist today is Mr. Debojyoti Banerjee. He is the founder and CEO of Seven Boats Infosystems Private Limited. He has 17 years experience in digital marketing and is an engineer in computer engineering and an MBA. He and his company has been awarded Best Brand Digital Marketing People's Choice Award in 2019, Entrepreneurship Recognition Award by BCCI, National Chanakya Award for the Best Communicating Trainer of this year. He is also a professor of digital marketing with Calcutta Business School and a member of our IIPC SED. The moderator for the program is Professor Sanjeev Biswas, Assistant Professor of Calcutta Business School in the area of Decision Sciences, Operations Management, and Information Systems. I now request Professor Sanjeev Biswas to take the webinar forward.
Thank you so much, madam. Respected core committee members, respected principal in charge, Professor Don, distinguished speakers, my faculty colleagues, dear students and participants, a very good afternoon to all of you. Now, coming to today's topic, this is as Madam Bhattacharya said, that this is a part of our ongoing regular activity wherein we normally discuss on the topic which is beyond the classroom. I mean, the frontiers of concepts of management practices and actual concepts. We often organize this kind of workshop or webinar mode so that we can understand, we can learn from the experts, and at the same time our students and participants also learn from them, And the objective of conducting such kind of workshop is to propagate the knowledge which is required to be a leader for the student by the students in coming future. Now coming to the topic, fortune telling with digital marketing. Now these those days are gone when organizations can really afford to take a call for their demand planning based on the points of sale data. I mean, the structured information they can gather at the point of sale. But now the fortune lies with understanding the unstructured information which is not available in the structured format. That means it is not important that you should think about the manifested behavior of the consumers. Rather, you should find out the proper influencer or rely on influencing marketing to by understanding the latent need of the customers. Now, this latent need of the customer could be manifested in terms of his or her, I mean, what to say, lifestyle, his or her likings, his or her visiting places, food style, belongingness, and the pages the customers like, the often they visit. So all these informations are actually cannot be gathered in a structured manner or in a questionnaire form. This is the ongoing continuous journey that the organizations do in order to tap their non-customer. I repeat the term non-customer because the customer, they know what is their habit, what are their consumer consumption pattern. But the non-customers, they are much more interested to make them their customer. And in order to make the non-customer to their customer, it is very important to understand their latent needs or unstated needs. And for that, you know, the social media plays a major role. After Web 2.0 and after with the advent of Industry 4.0 and these big data days, the data availability is in plenty. The only thing is that you have to capture the data, you have to understand the psychology of the data, the nature of the data, and you have to derive an actionable insight out of that data. And here lies the utility of digital marketing. Digital marketing actually allows you to understand your non-customer, to understand the latent need of even your customers also, and accordingly to reach to them, to make them aware of your products and get information from them to develop your products according to their need. We are also heading towards Society 5.0. So that Society 5.0 talks about personification. And this personification can only take place if you only know precisely what your customers want and who are your non-customer and how can you make them your customer. So I'm sure that our distinguished speakers, they are expert in this field and they would enlighten us on these aspects. But still, in one of my recent study published in Reference Journal, we noticed that still this digital marketing, though it is a buzzword, but it is not aware, it is not at the full awareness level to all of the people in our country or students. So we expect that our honorable speakers would highlight on 3 points: that what is actually digital marketing, what is it all about, and then how it tells the fortune for the business. That means how it adds value to the business. And finally, since many of the young professionals or would-be professionals are here attending this workshop, so they are eager to know that if they want to pursue their career in this field, then what are the things they should do and what the recruiters are expecting from them. So in line with these 3 sections, we have planned this workshop come webinar on webinar mode. So without any delay, now it is my privilege to request Mr. Masood to enlighten us on this first topic, that what is this digital marketing all about?
Thank you very much, all the participants, respected faculty member, and the audience. So I would like to thank Calcutta Business Schools for arranging such a beautiful session on digital marketing and the fortune teller. I'm very much glad to speak there and to address all the audiences and soon to be professionals, the students who will come out and join the industry. Before that, can I have a permission to share some PPTs?
Yes, 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 yes. Sunil,
Please allow me.
Sunil. Yeah, yeah, Mr. Masood, you are co-host. You can share. Yeah. Yes, it is visible.
Let me just make it large. Is it visible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So it was very tough for me to summarize the entire digital marketing in 15 minutes. So I tried my best so that I can give some overview to our beloved students what is digital marketing and why it is very significant in today's scenario. So I will proceed on by one, and later I can in the end of this session there's been a question answer round. If you have any query, definitely ask us, so that we'll be very much happy to clarify further. So let's start. What is it? The digital marketing. If we move back before 10 years ago, and somebody asked us to do some marketing campaign planning, what we used to suggest? First, if you're going for BTL or kind of ATL marketing, we used to suggest television advertisement, newspaper front page advertisement, pamphlets, billboards, because to inform the potential audience or customer regarding our product or services. Everything is same in today's scenario, that is in 2021, but the platform has been changed. In 10 years ago, if you go and want to put some billboards in particular place, you had to find somebody who is the owner of the space, who is the owner of the house, who will allow you to put some billboards in the rooftop. The same thing happening in this 21st, but the medium is different. We are going to using Google Ads tools. We are finding some beautiful websites where they are accepting advertisement or not. Google is automating in favor of us and putting those small banners and billboards to various websites. So things has the same, but the platform is changed. And now we can conclude regarding the digital marketing that if you are a company and having a product or soon to be released a product or services, and you are going to inform or going to exchange the information regarding your product or your services with your potential customer through the various digital media like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Tumblr, TikTok. So combinedly, we can call it as a digital marketing. And many people ask me what to learn and how to be a successful digital marketer. What is all about this digital marketing? It's a very easy, not like a rocket science. So digital marketing comprise of STPs, that is segmentation, targeting, positioning, behavioral analysis, analytical skills. You need to know some tools, and you have to have a deep understanding and content. If you have these 5 skills, you will be a good and successful digital marketer. Because if you are going to Facebook, you are doing some activities like you're playing some games, you're reading some books, you're watching some music, you're doing other some activities. So those are coming into the behavior. So brands who are now spending money on the digital marketing or in the digital space, they are much more target oriented. They want to make any budget will go and waste. So that's why you need to have a very good understanding on behavioral analysis. Second, you need to have a understanding of segmentation, targeting, and positioning. It's not about that you have read something about segmentation, targeting, and positioning in your textbooks. Rather, I suggest to work on some some practical projects and to learn it. Third point that we'll understand, that is the content marketing. Research found that 90% of the marketer, in the name of content marketing, they are doing the spam marketing. So we have to have our students or the professional who will going to build a career in digital marketing, they must have a deep understanding on content, customer content psychology, and various kind of content. Fourth is coming the tools. Why it is very important? If you know STP, behavioral analysis and content, but you don't know how to operate Facebook ad manager, you don't know how to operate Google ads, or you don't know how to analyze those ad data using various third-party tools, you cannot get the insights. Because the digital marketing is fully based on the data driven. And obviously, you need to have some analytical skills to analyze as per your requirement those customer responses data from various ad campaigns. So this is the advantages of digital marketing compared to the conventional marketing, like physical marketing. So digital marketing is cost effective. Let me give you some brief about how it is cost effective. Say you are going to launch a product and you are planning to cover 500 cities, and your company said that in 500 cities you are going to going to give the advertisement through billboards, and each city will contain 10 billboards. So 500 cities, 5,000 billboards, and one billboard costing you average 10,000 rupees, say, for that 20 days to 30 days of fare on the billboards. So can you imagine how much budgets you need to spend to cover these 500 cities through the physical marketing activities? If you do this through the digital marketing, that will even lead to the 1/10 of this budget. Second is, respect to this example, I will show you the targeting, how we can target this. Say you are an automobile company and going to launch a new product. So you put a billboard, say some places of the city, say considering Salt Lake, Newtown, Rajarhat. You don't know whether a student can see the billboards, or people really want to buy a automobile, they will see your billboards, or anybody who is not even your potential audience can see your billboards. So the amount of budget you have invested for those billboards, it can give you the results. It may give you the result, may not give you the results. So the targeting will not work on that for the physical marketing. But in the digital marketing, you can do a targeting as per the customer behavior. Power to control. You have seen that this advertisement campaign is not working for your physical world. You cannot do anything. Whatever you have printed, it's gone. But in digital marketing, you have scheduled a campaign and you have seen that the ad response is not well. Immediately, you can control that. You can alter this, or you can retarget the customer. Global reach. Same example I would like to give. Like, say you are an edtech company. You're a very small company, and you have a product of MOOCs, that is Massive Open Online Courses, and you want to sell, say in Singapore, in Australia. But if you go to physical marketing, you cannot. But through the digital marketing, if you invest some amount, you can target to the various cities of those particular countries. So that is the power to reach globally. And then personalization. Now, for having the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning, various brands, they started building the product as per the customer purchase behavior, and those products will design the offer after analyzing their past behavior pattern, and those offer will be sent to the various target audience. So just we can see the power of personalization. If you want to give some certain amount of discount to a particular group, you can do this. If you want to give some particular amount of discount to another group, that you can give. you can run various ad campaign as per the group, as per the audience, as per the um, behavior of the customer. So that is the personalization power through the digital marketing. And last is the measurable results. If you go through the conventional methodology of giving the advertisement in the newspaper or in a TV, there's a very less chances to measure the results. How much people have seen your advertisement, how much they came to your website, how many of them converted to your customer, from where they're quitting. So those things we can measure through the digital advertisement. For that, we need to have some tools, some analytic software. So this is the advantage of digital marketing. And this is the very saddest part I would like to highlight. Most of the youngsters who are starting MBA or engineering or somewhere started their career in marketing or in others domain, they think that posting something in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, that comes under the digital marketing. It is completely a misleading and misunderstanding. It is not a digital marketing at all. If you want to do the digital marketing, that should be with your each post goal in your mind. Just posting something is not considered under the digital marketing. So if it is matching those things, and you're selling or you're meeting some of your objective or goals, we can say it as a digital marketing. And yes, as I mentioned, that objective and purposes. So many companies have different kind of purposes. Some company wants to bring more traffic in their website, so they have a different objective. Some company wants to communicate more with their customer through Facebook or through Instagram. They have a different perspective. Some company wants to have much more number of bookings. Some company want to have more number of app installations. So we have a different objective and different purposes for each type of advertisement and campaign. And various channels. So if you want to plan the digital marketing for a particular brand or a particular product, we cannot do it blindly. We need to understand for the different kind of products, different kind of customers, different kind of targeting audience, we have to choose the digital marketing channel in a very wisely. Otherwise, we may lose the entire budgets, or we will not achieve the desired outcome or ROI. So I will give you some overview about that. Like if your target audience is between 18 to 50 years age, and you are a directly B2C company, want to build your brand or you want to sell something, definitely it is recommended you should go through the Facebook marketing. If you are a lifestyle brand, say a clothing brand or accessories brand or like a smartphone or smart gadgets brand, and your target audience is between 18 to 27, you definitely choose to go through the Instagram marketing. And we all know that we use LinkedIn for our professional networking. So if you're looking for any B2B tie-up or looking to increase your B2B presence, tie-up or services to the various B2B companies, we recommend it to go to the LinkedIn. Many of the digital marketers may agree or may not agree, but this is I'm sharing through the personal experiences that I recommend for a small size or medium size company not to go for the Twitter marketing, because Twitter gives the more rights and voice to the consumer instead of the brand. Yes, you should have a Twitter presence to solve various customer related tweets, customer related problem, and to bring the solution for that. But don't directly jump into the Twitter marketing for promoting your product or your services. And obviously, another thing is that Google Ads. So these also have a different purposes. If you are looking to increase your website traffic, but you want that people will search some service that is matching with your offerings, and they will come and buy in your website. So you can go for the SEM, search engine marketing. Then, if you want to show some particular products or services, we recommendation that you should go for the Google display ads. If you want to have more engagement, if you want to build more brand awareness or product or service awareness, you definitely go for the YouTube advertisement, or we can say video content advertisement. So that was a quick overview about various channels and purposes. And yes, that I mentioned in my earlier slide that you need to have some tools. So apart from the platform specific tools like Google have ads, Google Ads, Facebook have ad manager. So apart from that, you need to have some cutting edge tools you should know. Like if you're looking care of the marketing domain with generating the leads through the digital media, you should know how to like configure a CRM, how to use those CRMs. And there's lots of CRMs that are available, like some of the name is like Zoho CRM and other CRM is there. So you must have some knowledge on that. Sales IQ, it's a product of Zoho, but other product is also there similar to that. So this helps for the chat automation. Like nobody will wait for your responses once there's somebody visit to your app or your website. So you need to have some chat automation. Then if we go to for Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, so it's very tough for handling each of the account from different tab in your browser. So we need to use a multi-channel social media management tools like Zoho Social, Hootsuite is there. And this is not relevant, but sometimes it's important, that is call flow automation. If you're building a brand, deals on customer service or say kind of O2O on-demand market companies, so you need to have some call flow automation or selling some product. And then you need to know about the mail campaign, how the amount of mail you're sending, how many people are opening it, how many people are clicking and coming to your website, how many mail are unable to deliver in their mail account. So you need to have some mail campaign software like Zoho Campaign, same like SMS campaign software. You have to know how to handle this and how to analyze those ROI. And those are the tools. But apart from that, you need to know how to manage your project in terms of the marketing or anything. So you must have a understanding, or you must have a skills to use the Jira and Confluences. This is a very trending and demanding tools for managing the project and managing your documentation. And this is the actually market trends. If you can see, like in India, by 2025, the 75% of the the marketing budget will go to in a digital space or digital domain. And our internet industry is a very big. It is approx $160 billion. So you can imagine how much big is the digital ads domain. And if you see, in 2020, more than 8.6 lakhs of jobs posted in LinkedIn related to digital marketing specialist, and 20 lakhs jobs were available in Naukri.com that was associated with the digital marketing profession. But as Professor Sanjeev Biswas mentioned, like people are having limited understanding on digital marketing, or they don't know how to implement it. So this is the reality. 6 out of 10 marketers, they have a very basic understanding on digital marketing or having a very poor experience to implement it. So we have a huge scope on digital marketing, and through that, how we can leverage the businesses, and also how a student or professional can build their career successfully on digital marketing. So hope you all got a quick overview about digital marketing and how we can implement it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Masood, for a very crisp and precise overview of providing a very crisp overview of digital marketing. Really, you have set the tone of this panel discussion. Now, it's my privilege to call upon Dr. Datta, our next speaker and panel member, to enlighten us on that how this digital marketing is actually helping the business to define their fortune. So I request Dr. Datta to take over.
Thank you so much, Professor Vishwas, and a very good evening to everyone present here. Before I begin, I would just like to do a few checks. Am I audible clearly to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Is my screen visible to all of you, which is still coming up in the slideshow mode? Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
It is visible, right? Okay. Thank you. So, member of management, professors from CBS, members from the board of Sri Shiksha, and dear students, I should definitely thank you, but not for inviting me, not for giving me a 15 minutes time to speak to you, but for the reason that yes, today we are actually utilizing an hour or so time to discuss certain things on digital marketing. And digital marketing is something that you have been hearing a lot, correct? In fact, if you, I would not be surprised if it's coming up in the Google Trends or something, it's trending. Because for last around 6 to 7 years, it has been trending, and God knows for how long years it will be trending, right? And we have been hearing this again and again. And if I'm not wrong, and if I for the time being leave my side as a teacher and I just take the side of the students, I can sure see a lot of question marks on their faces, and I can sure see those things like where these marketing and HR and finance, where these subjects not enough. Again, why digital marketing? Why are every day people talking about new subjects, new concepts? Why is these new skills being dumped upon us on a literally on a regular basis? Today we are told study this, tomorrow we are told study that, then we are told until and unless you have this skill you will not get a job. What are we? How are we supposed to grab all these skills, and how are we supposed to get an expert in that? I hope some students might agree, and if you agree, you can put it in the chat. I'll be more than happy to, get some vote on this, that you are literally very confused as to why all these things happening. And why after this COVID scenario, people are talking more on in this line. Was COVID not enough? Was that not itself a big trouble that you are telling that you have to change all your skill sets and you have to do this and you have to do that? Right? I understand the seriousness of the situation, that you have to study a lot more now, right? But there is a way out. And the point is that the way out is, if you know the correct purpose of why you are being told to do this, or if you are sure that why this is going to happen, etc., then probably some of you might feel little bit comfortable in doing what you are being told to do. Most of the times we get uncomfortable because we do not know why we are doing it, right? So very aptly, once Fariduddin sir told you about everything about the digital marketing, as in what are the components, what are the things which are there, and what are the benefits of doing it, probably the next immediate question that comes to your mind is that, why us? Why businesses? What if there was no digital marketing? There was business. Even before digital marketing, there were businesses operating. They did not close down. Tatas and Birlas and Ambanis, they built up without digital marketing. So why is it necessary today? Why is everybody talking about it today, right? So obviously you will be questioning that. If somebody tells you, like when I was a student, I used to do that. I think you should also do it. That when somebody tells you without digital marketing, your chances of getting a job reduces, you should immediately ask why. Why does it really matter to a company that whether I know digital marketing or not? What, I'm not a good manager, I'm doing an MBA, so I know my marketing. What if I don't know digital marketing, right? These questions will come to your mind, pretty obvious. And trust me, if you are thinking in this line, and just between me and you students, if you are thinking that we as teachers are making you study more, you are not wrong. Take it from me, let's accept it, you are not wrong, right? You are supposed to be confused. So let's understand why this is so. Why is it that you have been burdened with so much of things, right? Let's just take it very simply. Over last 1.5 years, there are a lot of changes that have come into our life. I'll depict few of the changes, and I think you can make a list of 50 such more changes. In last 1 year, I'll tell you what all changes have come in my life, and I think you will be able to give 50 such things in your life. My change is that in case I have to go out of home, which I do not want to be very honest, because I'm scared. If I am out of my home, I'm taking my small bottle of sanitizer, and after every 15 minutes, I'm doing this. Okay. If I'm out of my home, after every 1 to 2 minutes, I'm twitching with my mask. Either I'm pulling it down or I'm pulling it up. Whenever somebody is giving me a hand to shake, with literal scare, I am being absolute, bad in my behavior and saying, no, it's okay. Somebody is offering me a cold drinks and I'm saying, no, I don't like cold drinks. Somebody is giving me a glass of water and I'm saying, I have my own bottle. It's okay, fine. And like this, there has been an n number of changes that has come into your life, right? And I think you will be able to relate with it. And because of these changes that has happened in our personal life, trust me, our professional life has also not remained the same because of the immense stress that has come up. For example, when you are doing your classes with your teachers, suddenly some family member goes behind you or comes and shouts or whatever. Can you tell them that, no, everybody shut up because I'm doing my class? You can't say that. We all are in a family now, working from home, studying from home, and that builds up on a stress. At odd hours, we have to do some work. We have to be online. Our eyes are stressed out. Our shoulders and necks are stressed out. We are like that. So obviously, we as workforce, when we will become employee, we will have to be treated differently. Things are different now. Businesses are operating differently. Now, if people are not, as sir was saying, that the cost of giving a hoarding is so high, I would just add one more point to it, that if nobody is coming out of home, then why should I put my ad on the hoarding? Who will say it? Correct. So these are changes which have happened over last 1.5 years. So naturally, now when you will be ready in next 1.5, 2 years for your placement, the way your seniors got a job, the kind of skills they had to get the job, that same skill will not be sufficient for you. I hope I could make the explanation clear that, see, our life is not same anymore. We as person have changed. So we as professionals have also changed, right? So what we have come out with at MyKuleGuru, we have actually conceptualized a model of developing the students, and that model is called Heading to Success model. So we focus on 4 alphabets, head, right? What are the alphabets? The first H is the human skill. What is human skill? Understanding the needs of the people around you. That could be your boss, that could be your colleague, that could be your subordinate. In your case, it could be your classmate, it could be your teacher, it could be the staff of the college, right? Even the security dada or the housekeeping dada, everyone who is there in your college, every people around you in your college, everyone is stressed out for different reasons. Some for financial, some for family reasons, some families had COVID patients, some families had death. So people are no longer same. So we have to have a high amount of emotional quotient. We need to understand people. We need to understand how to interact with them. Secondly, E. E stands for entrepreneurial skill, something which was only spoken of, but today, as an employee also, you are required to have entrepreneurial skill. That means you should understand the importance of investment that a company has done. You should look at the company as an entrepreneur, not that I go to my job, I do my 9 to 5 job, and I come back home. After that, whatever happens to the company, that's not my headache. Sorry, companies will not appreciate this kind of behavior, because now they are in trouble. So they want you to understand their trouble and participate in coming up out of that trouble. Fine. The third thing is the A. That is adaptive skills. And I believe you don't need an explanation. If we could adapt to wearing mask outside, if we could adapt to putting sanitizer in hand, if we could adapt to carry a sanitizer bottle along with a water bottle in our bag, then why can't we adapt professionally? When things are changing in the companies, when the way the business is operating is changing, then why can't we adapt to it? Fine. So adaptive skills are needed, and that adaptive skills can be adapting to technology, that can be adapting to shortage of resources, that can be adapting to working with stressed out workforce. So in the area of human resource, operations management, production, technology, every area the adaptive skill is required because things are different, scenario is different. And last but not the least, the most important one are the digital skills. Now, these digital skills have become so very vital for the organization because the one-to-one human contact is costly and risky. So people are now staying more indoors. They are more online. So the moment they are online, where will the company find them? Of course, online. So the moment companies have to go online, they have to equip themselves with digital skill. And hence, as an employee, if you do not have the digital skill, then what will the company do with you? Correct? So for heading towards your success, you need to adapt to all these 4 skills. These 4 skills are mandatory, right? So we are also driving towards training students under these 4 skills. And if you ask me, this is perhaps the last thing that I would like to show you today. The question that what does digital marketing, what digital marketing does to any business, right? What does it do? If the digital marketing, as sir said, and in fact, Debojyoti sir will also tell you about the career prospect and everything, what you can become. And as Farid sir said, what are the areas and the scopes of working in digital marketing? Why is it that digital marketing is needed? You know, the question, as I said, that if you do not know digital marketing, you will not be entertained by a company. Then why? What does digital marketing do to you? Very simple. The digital marketing makes a business smart. The first thing it does to the business is it makes smart. Why smart? As I said, people are not outside. So what's the point in putting up a hoarding picture? Put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram. While scrolling their phone, people will see you. Right? So be smart. The second thing that digital marketing does to a business is it makes them social. Right? When you see an advertisement on TV or when you read an advertisement in the paper, you can't interact. You can see Rin ki safedi, you can see Nirma ki safedi, but you can't go and tell them that I am not satisfied with the safedi. You can't go to a television and tell them that you told me that Lays chips will be khate raho, and when I opened my Lays chips packet, it only had 4 chips in the air. You can't go and say that. So to become social, what businesses did, they came on social media, so that we as customers get an opportunity to interact with the brand. And that way, the brands actually get to know what we are feeling, and we get to know what brands are thinking and giving for us. The third thing that digital marketing does to any business is it helps them stay focused. Very focused, because instead of wasting money all across, digital marketing helps us to target the customers very well. We can choose customer behavior wise, we can choose customer demography wise, we can choose customer geography wise. So it helps us, focus. Like if I have a biryani shop in Salt Lake, I can focus only of that neighborhood of Salt Lake to do my promotion, which I cannot do in television, because the television will be there in Asansol and somebody from Asansol will not come to Kolkata Salt Lake to eat a plate of biryani. So that means when my ad is going to Asansol, that money is wasted. But digital marketing helps us stay focused, because then my money is only being wasted for the Salt Lake. So that's not wastage, it's investment. So I know that people in Salt Lake will come to eat from my shop. I am promoting it in the Salt Lake area. The fourth thing it does to a business, it helps the business to create a clear-cut strategy. Why? As sir was saying, that digital marketing is all about numbers. The moment you do your marketing, at the back end, all the digital marketing tools and all help you see the result of your effort. How many people you reached, how many people clicked on your ad, how many people saw through the ad, how many hours of your ad has been viewed. in the morning or in the afternoon, which age group. So that helps you take strategic decision. And when you can take strategic decision, of course, business becomes intelligent. Plus you have other digital skills like the artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, etc. So you become intelligent. Then as there are numbers, you can measure the effect of your work, and the moment you can measure, you are more intelligent, your wisdom increases. A business actually becomes more and more transparent and visible to the audience because of digital marketing. Then you are not hidden behind a television screen, you are not hidden anywhere that we can only see advertisement but doesn't know much about it. So they are visible, they are truthful, they are transparent. Every strategy, everything that they are doing is pretty obvious on the screen. They are more web friendly, correct? And if the customer is Google-fied, the companies are also Google-fied. So what happens is they can create, either they can be visible on Google search by digital marketing, or they can do Google ads, or they can utilize Google, because Google is something that has become a religion for us. So if it is a religion for the customer, then why not follow the same religion? So that's what companies also are nowadays doing. And then finally, that this digital marketing gives you a huge opportunity to be creative. Audio, video, pictures, images, live, short, reel, full video, short video. Just imagine how many ways you can reach out to your customer. Whichever way your customer wants you, you can reach out to them, right? So that makes you utterly creative. And hence, if you are all these 11 points, then the 12th point is pretty obvious that you are way ahead. You can be ahead of every one of your competitor. Why? If you are not doing digital marketing, you are much behind them because they are all on digital marketing. But if you are doing digital marketing very smartly, so then businesses can stay ahead of all the other competitor. Now, tell me which business does not want these 12 benefit? Every business will want this 12 benefit, because this is what digital marketing does to them. And hence, what is necessary for you now as a prospective employee is to thus actually have a complete control on these 4 skills in your life. So the moment you have these 4 skills, you actually reach a success, and that's what lead you to a complete being a complete employee with all the skill that a company needs. Because today digital marketing has not only made our life easy, it has made the corporate's life easy also. It has made businesses' life easy also. It has made them smart, visible, focused, intelligent, truthful, honest, transparent, and that's why they need you to be employed with the skills. So I hope I could make it very clear as to why we teachers are doing this crime of asking you to study more. And I think you will now be a little bit happy that yes, whatever you are doing, you are going to get some benefit out of that at least, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Datta, for such a wonderful explanation through your speech. We would love to listen to you hours after hours, but since the time is limited, and as you also said, that we have to make this program move on. So now it's my, I am very happy to request Professor Banerjee to finally talk about that, knowing this, what is called digital marketing and how it benefits the business and what you actually require as a call of the hour. It is important to understand that what is the, if I be a digital marketer or digital marketing specialist, then what are the market, what is the nature of the market, what recruiters actually look for, what are the competencies that people should build up. So we are eager to, on behalf of the student, I am personally eager to listen to you to on this certain point. So it's now your, without any delay, I now request you to elaborate upon this.
Thank you, Professor Bishash. And it was great listening to my previous speakers. So they have clarified quite well. So now what I'll see, I will just, I will not share any PPT, but I will share a few stories and a few clear pointers for the would-be managers or whosoever were trying to get into MBA program or PGDM program. Few suggestions would be there for them, because all of you as of now you have understood that the importance of digital marketing, digital skill, as Dr. Datta has spoken about, and Mr. Masud has already talked about it. So the first thing I would start with, that from the recruiter's point of view, what we expect from a candidate. I'm not talking about uh, someone MBA or graduate or undergraduate. I'm not talking about any educational qualification, but what we basically need as a recruiter, because first thing we need from a candidate is the flexibility part. First thing is flexibility. Now, flexibility in terms of aligning themselves with the vision of the company where they are going to join, where they are appearing for the interview. So how well they are in sync with the vision of the company. This is number one. Second, how well they can uh, mold themselves, they can be flexible with the vision of the company. This is the second thing we want to check with a candidate. Third thing, we want to see the exposure and the expertise. Now, there is a difference between these two words. Exposure. Most of the cases, most of the companies nowadays, startups or MNCs, they prefer candidates with maximum exposure, not experience. Remember it. If you have experience in a single field, you would be called expert. Now, demand of experts in generic way, if we talk about it, it's limited. But as a fresher, when you are starting your career, so that is why we need, from the recruiter's point of view, we need more exposure, people with more exposure, hands-on exposure. So where you have to get those skills, so that is important thing, that you should have multiple exposures. And another one that we try to understand from the candidate, that the ability to, the adaptability, the ability to adapt to the changes, to the, how well they can learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So that is very, very important. Remember once again what I'm saying: learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That is the most important thing, that most of the startups and MNCs nowadays, they need this kind of things from the people whom they are recruiting. Now, coming to the digital skills, why it is required nowadays? Because just I will share one thing here. Uh, just I'm sharing my screen. I will show you one chart here. If you can see, all of you, my screen. If you just say yes, if you can see my screen.
Yes, it is visible.
See this. This is one thing that we also look from the candidates, that we call it a horizon of growth. So there is called uncertainty graph in the x-axis, and the y-axis is the growth potential. Now this model is applicable both for businesses, both for students, interview appearing candidates. So see, we basically, you have to have this kind of skill set, so that you have a knack or flavor to explore new areas where you can contribute, aligning to the company. So this is one. There is obviously uncertainty, but if you can explore these things, there is a better chance of your growth potential. Now, suppose similar example, if I give you marketing, traditional marketing, HR, finance, operations, logistics, core, say PGDM topics, you are becoming graduate. Fair enough. It's called similar like core business, right? So you have your core expertise, core, your academics is there. But the growth potential, obviously, the certainty, because this is certain, everyone, most of the people, we are aware about all these subjects. We know this, there are a lot of books available in the market. So the scope, the growth horizon is limited. Now, if you can explore the unexplored areas, so if you add additional skill set, then the growth potential will obviously increase. So this is another important point for career building activities, That is why it is important. I'm not talking about not specifying, or not giving better mileage to digital marketing only, but there are a lot of other emerging technologies as well. But digital marketing, why? Because it is a combination of arts, science, and creativity. So you can bridge along with the technology, you can integrate it along with the arts and strategy, you can integrate it. And this can be integrated with any sector: education, manufacturing, automobile, everywhere you can integrate it. So the scope, the horizon, obviously that will increase. And another important chart I want to share here, that we call the red flag identification matrix, very important for the students. And I will come to the explanation of this. Before that, I want to share with all of you most of the cases. Even in my college days also, I have faced the similar situation. We have a notion that I will go to XYZ college and they have huge placement, last 5 years placement record superb, and I will pay the fees, I will pay the money, and I will get the job. Fine. That mentality, it's a high time to change about that mentality. Now you will ask me, sir, you are right now in a good position, already established, you may say this kind of things, but you may not understand the pressure, the stress, what we are going through. But remember, guys, I have gone through all these situations. I can share my stories on a different day, but here I want to share one thing. You have to focus here a few things. First important thing is the exposure. You need to check how well you are getting exposures. Second one is network. Network is equal to net worth. So if you can build network in your college, in your campus, if you get those opportunities to meet, to listen, to hear other people, that would be you have to utilize that thing effectively. This is number 2. And the number 3 part, that if you become able, if you gain knowledge about those skills, about those upcoming things in a smart way, then obviously your growth potential would be much higher and money will automatically follow you. So placement will come to you, seeing your potential. Like giving you one simple example, even we interviewed one class 12 student, and even I conduct classes in even IIM Rohtak, IIM Shillong also. I have seen students there as well. But don't believe, I have recruited one class 12 students because of his potential, looking into his potential. Now coming to this part, now this is, we call it brand size and the market size. Now if you can understand that market size, if the market is sinking and you are becoming knowledgeable, you are in yellow and red zone. So either you have to gain skill set in an area where the market is expanding, then you can be at green zone. And your brand size, here we can take it your skill set, your exposure. If you can increase your exposure along with, if you look at the market size, then only you would be at green zone. So before putting allegation to teachers, to situations, to circumstances, to COVID, to other companies, to placement sale, first thing you need to take care about, that you need to learn new skills to enhance your own ability. That is very, very important here. Now, 2 more things I want to highlight here. Next 3 to 5 years, all of you will see gig economy. Now, what is gig economy? Gig economy means big companies, startups, small companies, they will come up with project-based assignments. It's not like a comfortable 9-to-5 job with very good salary package. It would not be the case. It is a fact. I'm not demotivating you, but I'm just familiarizing you with the reality. It's a reality check. So that is why it is necessary that you should have multiple skills, multiple exposures, and looking into the market, looking into the trend, you should upskill yourself. So whenever you take a decision about selecting college, selecting faculty, selecting courses, selecting your next certification, you should focus in all these areas, into yourself, into the network, into the exposures part, and then obviously placement and the network, and then uh, industry academic connects. Those obviously would be there. But this thing is very, very important here. Now, gig economy, if you have written on 18th June, last 18th and 16th June, there were two news in NASCOM. They have said the 3 million job would be cut. 3 million job. Remember the number. 3 million job lost would be there in IT sector. Now, IT sector in India is a huge sector. Now, 3 million job loss is a huge scenario. And NASCOM, they would not say anything, I mean, rubbish, right? Even if we, and another news is there from NASCOM itself, that 96,000 new job opportunities would emerge, right? Now, there is another term is there that is called robotic process automation, RPA. Now, what is robotic process automation? It's not bringing robot. It's not bringing artificial intelligence. It's not bringing rocket science. It's basically, you have to upskill yourself in a way so that you know about different tools, you know about different technologies, you know the marketing basics, you know the strategic part, how well you can integrate them to minimize the cost of a company. So we call it revenue engineering. So the better you can do revenue engineering, there is a better chance that you would get more salary. So if you ask me that if I am passing out from this college, would I expect say 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs package, 11 lakhs package after the year? I would ask you rather, what would you give me as an employee that I would pay you 11 lakh or 12 lakh package, yearly package? So what is that equation? So you should always think in that line, that what I am getting, at least I have to give 5 times more than that. How to do that? Either I have to increase the revenue, or I have to decrease the cost, cut the cost. So how to cut the cost? By integrating technology with the strategy. Now, if you know digital marketing, if you know video editing, if you know some kind of graphic work, if you know some kind of doing different, accumulating different tools, making website, so what will happen? If a company, they need 6 people team for all these activities, and if they get you that at least you can save cost of 2 people, so obviously there is a better chance that people will recruit you, right? So this is very important. But positive scene here I want to share, that in digital marketing field, 800% there is a job increase only in digital marketing field. Mr. Mashood has already shared that, so I don't want to repeat that thing, but I can say here 1.5 times salary growth. We have seen 400% salary growth in 5 years timeline. Now you will say, sir, after doing digital marketing or doing MBA, I am getting a 15,000 per month job. So what is the meaning of doing this? Now I can give you one example of a student, 15,000 per month job, and within 5 years, he has reached 13 lakh per annum package. Now you ask yourself, have you seen anyone in 5 years with this percentage of growth, starting from 15,000 to getting 1 lakh within a year? It is possible in digital marketing industries. And I'm not talking about anything like fancy figure. It's the reality. It's happening, and lots of companies, lots of opportunities are emerging. So I think you all people should focus into that word. I think Shakespeare once said, like, fortune's fool. So don't be a fortune's fool. So try to utilize the fortune in a proper way. Keep your eyes, ears, nose open. Look into the market scenario, and then plan your career path accordingly. Keep mentor, decide good institutes, not in terms of only placement, but in terms of the networking, their quality of the teaching, faculties, guest faculties, industry academia connect. There are different kind of activities they're involved in. Participate in those things. Do internship. Initially go for even for free internships, but get more and more exposures. And prepare yourself, your CV, your presentation in that way. The way Mr. Mashood was saying that 6 out of 10 people, they are still not aware, they are poor in performance. So competition is increasing, but reliable and good people, we really, this is a really challenging task for us even. So we call it eat healthy, the same way, EAT process. E for expertise and exposure, A for authority, and T for trustworthiness. Three features, three things that we look in a candidate. If you have these three things, you can grow. You can grow 400%, 500% within 5-6 years down the line. Even if you start at a low figure, you can, beat many others of your friends and other people who are even in top grade institutes, A institutes. So getting a chance or getting salary is not actual thing. It's a journey. So sustaining into it, that is the most important part. So I have students, 75-year students from Canada. He has come to me to learn to upgrade himself. Now see, 75 years. Can you believe? So if they can do it, now we have also students from Bihar, from very interior area. After learning digital marketing, within 4 years, they are working as senior manager in Sector 5. So if people, they are getting, these are a lot of examples are there. So also you can do this way, but you need to be very well planned, structured. The blueprint should be clearly there, and you should always, I just want to end with this last line, that smart approach. You should keep a smart approach. Now this smart means not this smart. It's like specific. You should be very clear about your goal, your objective, and what you can contribute in terms of tangible way. So because everything is data driven now. So you can say, I can reduce 10% of your expenses. I can increase 5% of your revenue by bringing this kind of technology and automation. So specific, measurable. So you have to keep a right kind of feasible target that you can achieve, and you can measure, you can showcase it, and then achievable, so that you can achieve. It's not over promise, over confidence. So achievable, and then relevant, related. It should be relevant with your subject, with your field, with the company you are going to work for, and time bound. So everything is related to time bound manner. If I stretch this webinar up to 3 hours, the energy would be drained up. All of you would say, oh, nothing has been, everything is over my head. So everything should be in a time bound fashion. So that's it from my end. And I think you should have a clear idea right now that how to create a blueprint for your career path, and how to select good institutes for your further learning. So all the best, and thank you.
Thank you, Professor Banerjee, for such an wonderful deliberations. Now it's the time to make this house open for question answer. But before that, as a refresher, I request Sunil to play a small video of our beautiful campus or the live. Sunil, and meanwhile, I request the participants to prepare the questions, and we would be shortly back to the question.
For essence, then you are welcome to Calcutta Business School. Center of Excellence. Centered on excellence.
Our trustees had a vision to set up a business school which would cater to the graduate students and also to working managers to fulfill their aspirations. As a result, our emphasis is on curriculum, on students' welfare, on placement, and also on different types of incubation centers to hone the skills of all the students.
Business School opens the door to an excellent tomorrow.
While selecting a B school, What should you look for? Good curriculum, knowledgeable faculty, excellent infrastructure, good placement, overall personality development? Calcutta Business School has it all.
We welcome you all to this beautiful campus of Calcutta Business School. Calcutta Business School is all about a place where dreams are fulfilled. We have a very, very strong value system. As a group, we have 10,000 students and over 500 faculty and staff members. Our curriculum is all about being learner-centric, where each way, the learner moves ahead on their own. There is experiential learning, transformation, and they are all employment ready because there is an industry connect.
The campus is thus a perfect example where technology and nature meet to educate and develop the next generation of managers, leaders, and entrepreneurs.
Results speak volumes. Students are carefully groomed before they go for interviews, resulting in a track record of 100% placement across 35 sectors and 40 varied functional roles. All students are absorbed as management trainees and are confirmed in the management cadre. Some also go abroad for higher studies. We are proud to place our students in reputed companies in India and abroad, like Merksline, McLeod Russell, Everready, PricewaterhouseCoopers, HDFC Bank, KPMG, and many more.
We are again back. So I request persons to put forth the questions. Already we have received 3 questions from the participants. The first question that we have received is that this SEO and content marketing, how these two are related? So I put this question in front of our panelists, and may I request them to answer. May I request Mr. Masood to answer this question, that how SEO and content marketing are related?
Yeah. So I would like to clarify your queries regarding the content marketing and SEO, how both are linkage. So before that, let me give you an understanding of what is content marketing and why we use the content marketing. So I will explain in terms of a layman word so that you can have a broad understanding on that. Every content marketer has a motive not to directly sell, rather make the customer intelligent so the customer can look, think, and behave differently. This is actually the motto of a content marketer. And what is the motto of SEO, search engine optimization? Not to pay further to Google ads for SEM. Those motto is very different. So I will give you another example. Say, if you are a company having a product of hexa-core processor. Now, most of the processor that is in the market available, that is, say, octa-core. So the content marketer of this company should have a motto to prepare lots of content in terms of digital, in terms of video, or in terms of normal text, and to throw this content to their targeted audience to make them more intelligent, like hexa-core processor coming in the market that is more power efficient, that is more speedy, no lagging. So the content team is continuously sending this relevant content to their potential audience or their potential customer and making them intelligent. How making them intelligent? They're sharing the relevant information to their set of targeted customer that whatever the processor is available in the market, that is octa-core, but hexa-core is much better. And let's say another example in that, and you'll be using this hexa-core processor and making a phone and to sell in the market. So your core marketing team, what they will do, they will start featuring the smartphone having this hexa-core processor. So the content team already made the customer intelligent that hexa-core is always better than the octa-core. And the marketing team, that is the core marketing team who are associated with the revenue generation. They are giving an advertisement that they are going to launch a smartphone powered by this hexa-core processor. And if a consumer is looking to have a branded new high-tech mobile phone, what will he or she will do? Definitely, he or she will go and buy this hexa-core powered smartphone. So that is the motive. Make your customer intelligent. Content marketer is kind of disguised marketer. They will never tell that they are going to sell something. Rather, they will make the customer intelligent so that customer can look into the content. They stop, they feel, and they behave differently.
Okay.
And coming to the SEO. SEO is kind of, you can do SEO for any of the reasons. Say you are selling a service like Urban Clap. Somebody is going to search like salon in home, so that without paying the Google, through the search engine marketing ad, you have developed a technique as per the guideline of search engine and their algorithm. You put some words that are matching with the customer search, and your website is ranking, say, in the first page of among the top 5 without paying anything. So your SEO intention is to optimize the marketing cost and to bring the search result top. And content is to like drive more sales in a disguised way, or building the brand awareness, or making your customer more intelligent. So those tools are different, but content also can be used to increase the SEO in a different form.
Thank you. The next question is I see many questions, but I would try to club these questions in a manner so that everyone's question can be answered, because I have seen many questions are coming up. Now, my next question is that received from the participant is that how to promote a business in a best way to the market, and how to handle if something negative feedbacks are coming up. So I request Dr. Datta to answer this question.
Right. Very interesting question, that what is the best way to promote it digitally and how to handle if there is something very negative. Now, I'll just take few examples and I believe this will be clear. If you remember, there was a time when there was this question on Coca-Cola about having pesticides in it. There was a time when there was a question on Cadbury's for finding a worm in it. In fact, there was a time, probably you may not have read about it because it happened in a very different place, different part of the world. In South Carolina, there was one Domino's stores, and in that Domino's stores, some of the employees, 3-4 out of them, prepared a video where they showed all the nasty and dirty ways of preparing a pizza, that how unhealthy they can make it, and that particular video went viral. And the worst part was that the management, the head of the company, the head of the brand Domino's, they actually saw it after 3 days. By that time, whatever the damage had to be done had already been done. Similarly, the Coca-Cola case, similarly the Cadbury case. Now, these all situations keep on happening with the brands, and not every time it is the fault of the brand, but yeah, sometimes the brands also may not have done their proper checking, proper audit and all. Now, if this crisis has happened, then social media is the place to actually come back to. Reason being, there is the best option, I as a marketer feel, is to be honest and truthful to the customers and accept that yes, this thing has been done, this mistake has happened, and this is how we are rectifying it. This is how we are correcting it. Now, this is part of something called digital PR. Okay, crisis handling is done by one part of integrated marketing communication, which is called the public relation part of it. And public relation these days have become something called digital PR. And the role that newspaper or the journalists used to play, these days the same thing has been done by influencers, the same thing has been done by vloggers, the same thing has been done by very good, you can say, marketers on LinkedIn. So using these people, you have to create some very good, honest, transparent content saying that yes, this mistake has happened, and these are the ways in which we are rectifying. For example, if you remember, sorry, Maggie had shown a video of how they are incinerating their entire inventory of Maggie, because there was the question on Maggie that the content of lead was higher than the permissible limit. So they had shown the video of how the Maggie inventory is getting incinerated, right? So the best way to handle a crisis is to create these videos and go for a PR move. Now, either there are two options. Either you can go to the press or you can take the help of influencers. Now, if you are a very big company and you have huge amount of budget where you can commit the media about future promotions and everything, where the companies also know that they are going to get a lot of advantage from you, the journalists will come running after you. But then suppose you are a startup, you are a small business, then you do not have that fund to promote yourself in television or paper and all that. Then a very easy and a faster way out is to get hold of some very good influencers. You may not go to the top influencers, but some second level influencers who also have a good capture in the market, they can come to your rescue. They can come and prepare a content and vouch for you, saying that yes, this crisis happened, but now this is how they are rectifying. See, I'm using the product. See, I'm using the service, and I'm absolutely perfect. I'm absolutely okay. So influencers, vloggers have got a huge follower line. So that actually helps you in terms of your digital PR. Along with it, what you can do is create some interesting content by those people on LinkedIn who are well followed. There are good number of people on LinkedIn who are well followed, so you can take their help and can resolve the crisis. And of course, there are certain mandatory things which you have to do. You have to come out with certain press releases and everything. That is part of PR that you anyway have to do. So that's how the crisis can be handled. So when promotion is done by advertising, crisis has been handled by public relation. These are different tools of IMC. With time, you will all go ahead and read this. Different tools of marketing communication have different function to play. So PR has this very important function out of many other function, is to handle the crisis. And these days, it is done digitally. I hope I could answer.
Thank you, madam, for answering this question so beautifully. I have a two interesting question. One from one of our participants, Miss Radhika Lath. That may I request Miss Radhika Lath to unmute yourself and say the question by your own. Miss Radhika Lath, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So please unmute and ask the question to the. I request Professor Banerjee to answer.
Yes, sir. My question is, considering the advantages of digital marketing to a business and the current scenario, would it be a wise decision for some business to concentrate only on digital marketing and completely ignore the traditional marketing part?
My answer would be, Radhika, in this case, it's no. Clear no. Why? Because everything is interrelated, interlinked. You cannot deny another one. You cannot say in a favor of another one. So everything is interlinked. Traditional marketing was there, it is there, it would be there, right? The form, the elements may change, may not change, but it does not wise to conclude that you should omit that and you should completely focus into digital, because digital is also changing. I started that time, it was not digital. That time we said internet marketing, web marketing. So right now there are a lot of new tools, new things are coming up, new technologies are coming up, where we can even personalized marketing. We are talking about that we can do personalization in marketing. So there are a lot of things are happening. So technological aspects, things are changing. So we have to just uh, flow with the change. It does not mean that we stop another one and we start another one, not like that. You have to keep a balance, and most importantly you have to keep a contingency plan. So suppose if you are a digital agency, you're completely dependent on one single channel. We call it omni-channel presence. It should be your marketing strategy, that digital, everything is digital now. You are into digital now. Tomorrow Google will shut off and internet is banned, and then everyone will be back to the traditional one again. Chaos would be there. So the balance factor is very important here. Okay.
So I am receiving many questions, and
Yes.
I request I
Yes,
request I
Professor Vishwas, I can answer few questions what I can see here in a very precise manner, if you
uh,
permit.
yeah, of course, there are two. I We would take more two questions, because after that I encourage the participants to bombard us with questions, but in Google Gmail, so that I can send to respective speakers and get answers from them, and we will get back to you again, but not now, because it's already 1 hour 40 minutes is going on. So I would take two questions more, and the one question that Mr. Devjit Pramanik is asking. So I request Mr. Devjit Pramanik to unmute yourself and ask the question. Mr. Devjit Pramanik, are you there? Okay, so I just narrate the question. He asks that how can I drive digital traffic to my site immediately? And in connection with this question, there was another question: how to improve Google search ranking? So, as Professor Banerjee, as usual, is quite enthusiastic of these questions to answer, so I request him to answer this question.
This question is basically answering in a very precise manner would be very difficult, but just giving you one glimpse here, that improving Google, immediately getting traffic, that you can do by going through ads, Google ads, Facebook ads. Immediately you pay them. It's like a metered thing, like you pay and you get. So you pay, you should have a property like your own web page, one website or own Facebook page for that, and you go with the paid ads, and immediately you will get some result. But the quality of that, the conversion part, the quality part is not, we call it, since ad we call outbound marketing or push marketing. So the quality of the leads you may not get that good. In terms of inbound marketing, we call it inbound. That means content marketing, doing SEO, doing website, making good website structure. So these are all coming under inbound part. So inbound part will take time, but it would give you better quality. And for getting good Google search rank, three things we need to take care of. That is the structure of the website. We call it web structure. Structure means the menu, the pages, the topics, the content, and the interlinking between pages, and the substance of the particular content, how well defined those are. So it is important, the web structure. Second one, obviously the content. Various forms of content is needed, not only text, video, text, image, audio, podcast, everything. You can rotate and mix it up. Obviously it would be of something of value. And the third one is the popularity. That means other people, other websites, what they're talking about you, the more they will talk about you, the better mileage you will get. Now for these three things you need to take care. You need to consider, like user intention and user experience. Sometimes we call it customer experience and customer journey. So this you have to maintain all through your digital platforms, all through your digital activities. The communication part from start to end, and the experience what you are providing to your customers, that is very important here. And you have to maintain that flow. And user intention, that means if I am searching something, if I want to check, come to a website and check for some product or service, what are the behind the scenes questions in my mind? Suppose you have joined this webinar, what are the objective? The webinar should fulfill those objectives, that okay, this is, I want to know about the career, the future prospect of digital marketing, all this. Now this webinar, if that caters to that particular questions, then you will relate it, you will get value out of it. So these things you need to consider while you need to promote your website through Google. So that is my answer. Another question, I will take 1 minute more, Mr. Professor Vishwas, if you permit. I've seen here one thing that the metrics, you asked that few digital marketing metrics, we call it awareness, consideration, and conversion metrics. So page likes, comment, number of inquiries generated, people clicking on your website, visiting your website. So these are all considered as your KPI or measurement metrics, performance metrics, right?
Thank
So,
you. So I have a question for one quick question for Mr. Masud and one quick question for
sure.
Dr. Datta, because then I would end this session formal way. So the first question for Dr. Datta is that some participant asked this question. It was a very informative webinar. That was the compliment. And then she said, I'm an affiliate marketer. My question is, what is the most important strategy an affiliate marketer should use as a beginner? And what do you think about the growth of the affiliate marketing industry in near future?
Right. Very good, I would say, question. And first of all, I hope you have a clear understanding of what affiliate marketing is. And if you have that, then you would definitely be knowing that the basic principle on which the affiliate marketing works is the number, the traffic, the viewership, the usage, the members, right? So this is the basic foundation on which the affiliate marketing works, right? Now, I always give this example whenever I discuss on affiliate marketing, I always give this example that if you are from Kolkata, you would be knowing how big Durga Puja is a festival. And whenever there is a Durga Puja, there are some big names, right, which are media coverage and everything. And those places, if somebody has to put up an ice cream stall or a fast food stall, they have to pay much higher than what they have to pay in a small neighborhood, small Durga Puja, where probably the much footfall doesn't happen. That same principle actually is applicable for affiliate marketing. That means if you are expecting a lot of people to join hands with you and give you, projects to sell it out, products to sell it out, projects on affiliate marketing, in that case, what you have to ensure is a huge, huge footfall. Not physical, but internet digital footfall. And in order to have a good digital footfall, what you have to first do is to engage people around your website. Why should they come to your website? That's the question that they will ask. And the second question people will ask is, if I come to your website, why should I stay here? So these are the two answers that you have to find out. And say, for example, you create a page where you give lyrics of music. Right? So people, those who love music and wants the lyrics of songs, they will come to your page. But then after some time, if there is nothing new, then they won't come to your page. Right? Say, for example, I'll take my example, My Cool Guru, which I started. It's a, you can say, a community of students that we are building up. It's nothing. It's very simple concept that we are building up a community of students. Like Facebook, etc., we are building a community of students because there are no community for students. And in that community, we are doing a lot of tie-ups, we are doing a lot of sessions, workshops, lot of things, and most of them which are free and other things. Now the question is, if you as a student ask me, ma'am, why should I join My Cool Guru? I would say it's because we are growing as a community. The bigger in number we are, the more will be our demands, and the more things we can offer to you, probably at free of cost or probably at the lowest possible cost in the market. That could be job, that like we have a job portal, we have training classes, we have a lot of things which are there for the students. It's an ecosystem, it's a complete ecosystem. Same way, if you are creating a particular website, be very, very clear on why should the traffic come to you and why should they stay with you. And if you can do that, then you will get n number of projects in affiliate marketing. Your getting projects in affiliate marketing would become extremely easy if you have the logic for the customer to be on your website. So your first and foremost strategy, create correct content, create engaging content, and create a content that is of value to people. That is something which they will be loving to get from your website. And the moment you do that, you will have huge number of people, engaging people, and then whatever be the topic of your website, the idea around your website, try to approach those people who will be actually targeting the same audience which you are targeting. Right? So affiliate marketers are the ones who have to get engagement. They are the ones who have to get the numbers. And then there will be no dearth of projects. There are so many companies who are ready to offer you their products to sell through affiliate. You will get n number of products. Just ensure that you have an engaging website. That's it.
Thank you so much, madam. Just last quick question to Mr. Masood. The question is, in a social media or digital marketing age or digital marketing area, what are the exact new emerging market trends, and what are the three major brand platform through which we can promote our brand? I mean, the promote one's brand.
Thank you so much for asking this question. And what is the emerging technologies is coming? So I am not supposed to disclose the project, but I have already told you that currently I am leading. That is, after a few years, there should be very less amount of data scientists and data analysts. Because there's a huge number of data is generating every day from the advertisement. And we are seeing the customer behavior each time. We are taking the decision. We are making the promo offers as per the customer purchase behavior, right? And we are sending to those targeted customers through digital platform. So the brands, they are trying to create some deep tech powered by AI and DNN, deep neural network. And those engines will try to analyze the behavior of the customer. They will design the promo code and they will throw it automatically through SMS, through mail. So there will be no further assistance from any kind of digital specialist who are like executives or somebody else to cut the cost. So that will be the emerging for the next coming days. One part. Second part is in terms of as I mentioned, 75% companies are now willing to invest in the digital marketing. So there will be lots of AI-driven tools to understand more deep inside the customer psychology, and also there will be lots of improvement in terms of the UI and UX. If you look back, the app and their UX and UI before 3 years ago, and if you look back currently, you can see a huge improvement. The same way, the many companies are working as by keeping the customer psychology in mind, because digital marketing is not a single thing. There is a composition of behavioral analysis, then analysis of customer data, rightly design the landing page or your product so that you can attract more number of customers. So those emerging areas, 3 emerging areas, especially UI, UX, offer engine. So those will lead to cut down the cost and to convert the more number of customers. And what is the next question? I completely forgot.
So I think what are the 3 platform that one can use in digital marketing to promote brand through 3 base platform?
You are in a startup, because let me give you some example. Like if you go and check one brand is Slack. This is a US-based company. Slack is there, Jepos is there, Indian brand Creed is there. So those building entirely built on the digital platform.
Okay.
So first we have to understand the nature of the business. So if you are a consumer brand and selling some products, say clothing accessories, you should first go with Facebook and Instagram marketing.
And that you have
initial
said.
days, if you have a limited number of marketing budget, I don't suggest anybody to go for the Google ad. They are comparatively expensive, but effective is Facebook and Instagram ad. Same, you have started a company on B2B domain, business to business services. So you must focus on LinkedIn.
Right.
So depends upon the nature of your business, nature of your product, you should choose the right platform. And beginning of my slide, I have also shown you already that if you are a brand and targeting to the youth, 18 to 27, people are spending more times on Instagram.
Right.
So you'll go for the Instagram marketing. If you're a brand and have a broad audience from 18 to 50 years and selling to B2C customers, or you're a brand of business to rate consumer, that time I suggest to go through the Facebook marketing. Google ads is always relevant for irrespective of any kind of businesses, because nowadays people believes more to Google than your family, friend, or other people, right? So everybody is searching some kind of services and looking on Google search. But if you have a budget, then only choose. Once you started growing, keep putting money on Google SEM, Google Ads.
Thank you so much for your answer. So it's now time for me to quickly give a formal concluding remarks and summary of all these things. So I request the participants to stay back and if possible, please put on your video mode so that we can take a snap, because physical mode, otherwise we can take a group photo, but here we can at least take a digital photo. So please, I request the participants to, if possible, please make your video on, those who can, because we can take a print screen kind of thing. I request Sunil to take a print screen so that everyone's image can be there. So I request everyone, whosoever else can, if it is possible, please put on your video mode. Sunil, are you listening to me?
Yes, yes.
Sunil, please take a screenshot from all pages. I mean, the 60 participants are there, including the speakers. So it is not possible, may not be possible to take in one page. So take multiple pages, but please try to capture their faces, because times are uncertain and God knows after 2 years who will be where. So these memories would be there for us, with us. And unlike those days when pictures used to be taken by Kodak camera, but now it is possible to preserve a large number of pictures in our hard drive. So these memories are always remain with us. So to keep a good memories forever, so please take the picture. And once you are finished, please tell me that I would in a very crisp way, I would give a formal summary of this entire session. Sunil, once you are done, please let me know. Sunil, are you done?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So it's my honor and very privileged to give a formal concluding remarks as a moderator. It is really a nice experience for me to moderate this session, though I am from decision science and operations management background. But it's a very encouraging thing for me to give a concluding remarks of this session as a moderator. So I will start with expressing these things to my sincere thanks to the speakers for spending their valuable time for educating us on this very pertinent and important topic of this decade, that is the digital marketing. So I would start with Mr. Masood, who said very beautifully about the overviews of digital marketing. What is it about? What are the definitions? And by giving a beautiful wheel kind of structure with connecting components of essential components of digital marketing like STP, behavioral analysis, analytics part, tools, content, all these components are attached to the wheel to generate the broad content of digital marketing domain. And he also segregated quite beautifully the way that people should use digital marketing in popular social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram for B2C, then LinkedIn for B2B, and also the Twitter is there. And he also mentioned some of the very powerful and popular tools like Zira, Confluencier, Sales IQ, Zoho campaigning, all these tools and the upcoming technology. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any term, because I'm not aware of these terms, frankly speaking. Now, moving to Dr. Datta is a very apt and very beautiful model of heading model. I'm quite impressed with this heading model that she has developed. And if I have understood correctly, with my limited knowledge about this heading model, it is all about understand your customer, not only that what is expressed, but not and also what is not expressed. Then imbibe those understanding within you. Then innovate how you can deliver innovative service to them, innovative product to them. Then in order to innovate, change yourself, adapt to the conditions where which is required. Then properly plan, reach to the customer, maintain a constant dialogue and communicate with them, and provide them the service and convince them that whatever they have asked for, they get this actually. Then she told about this, how digital marketing can help the business in just like a 12 steps, what I perceive as a 12 months. In a year we have 12 months, so I perceive her these 12 points like smart, social, truthful, web friendly as 12 months. If we all practice, if all business practice these 12 months, then the every business would be always 1 year ahead of than others, than the competition. So this is a 12 months and 12 commandments that are the use of digital marketing in business. Then last but not the least, our own Professor Banerjee, he told about that the very important thing of eat. We all eat, but it's a very important thing that the more you have exposure, and then only you can it can be selected by most of the recruiters. It is all about whether to go for these economies of scale and whether to go for economies of scope. So he told about that as a fresher, you should go for economies of scope, because the more you have exposure, then later on after working, you can be having economies of scale. That means that expertise. Then he said about this authenticity and trustworthiness, attitude, all these things are important. And I personally quite impressed with these two models. One is that this core business, growth business, and exploratory business. How do I trade off between the uncertainty and growth potential? And how do I trade off this basically this model called how brand reach and how is capturing the customers in a good way? And finally, he ended up with a very icing on the cake, a very important word these days, networking. Network means net worth. Really, it is true not only for business, even in academics also. If you have network, then you are having net worth. This is an important thing to do. So this is all about, in short, this summary of this enriching 2-hour session. I'm sorry if I misunderstood something and if I missed something to summarize. And now it is my turn. I am immensely happy to have Pragya Devnath, our first year student, to give a formal vote of thanks.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. So very good evening to everyone. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks speech on behalf of the entire fraternity of CBS. I would like to express my gratitude to all estimated delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. I extend my gratitude to our honorable speakers, Professor Debojyoti Banerjee, Dr. Mohua Dotto, and Mr. Fariduddin Masood, to take out time from their busy schedule to grace this event. Today, we had a great opportunity to hear from you people, and this is definitely going to encourage us in our future. And the way you have discussed the points about the fortune and the market analysis part with the sense of having the updated new skills have definitely shown us a new path in the world of digital marketing. I'm also very grateful to Shiksha Foundation for always giving us the best out of best opportunities. Wholeheartedly thankful to Professor Shonjeev Bishwas, who has moderated the session very well, and our principal sir, Professor Don, for always supporting us to stay motivated. With a deep sense of gratitude, I would like to thank all of my professors and supporting staffs for their untiring support. And last but not the least, our viewers for being such our great support system. Thank you very much, everyone. With the hope of meeting all of you again very soon, I wish you all a great and healthy life on behalf of the Institute. Have a great weekend. Have a good night.
Thank you so much for all the speakers from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for giving your time. So let us end here, though I do not believe in end, but for the time being, let us end here. Hope we will connect again and again to learn from you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.